Roxanne, you're not late, darling. Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Christopher. Hi, Tessa. Hi, Margaret. Thank you for always coming. And hang with me Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday from 5:30. You all make it worth it, eh? I want to tell all of that. You all make it worth it. I solemnly pledge to dedicate my life to the service of my God and my country. I'll honor my parents, my teachers, my leaders, my elders, and those in authority. I'll be clean and honest in all my thoughts, my words, and my deeds. And I'll strive in everything I do to work together with my fellow men of every creed and race for the greater happiness of all and the honor and glory of my country. Hi, Shireen. Hi, Miss Yvette. So people, good news. Christmas time, so it have a lot of good news, you know. Because no matter what, at the end of the day, there's always something good to celebrate. When some people are crying, it have some laughing, while some sick, some are healthy, when some die, some are being born, and the cycle of life goes on. So I saw this with Minister Gonzalez in Public Utilities Ministry is really doing a lot of work with bringing water to the citizenry. However, you will hear some people coming out and operating as if they're not getting water at all. While under Kamla Prasad it was water for all, wasn't it? And all kind of drama, and he wasn't getting water. You see now there's a greater emphasis and effort in making sure that all citizens get pipe-borne water. They may not get it 24/7, but there is a steady supply. I'm seeing some other works coming out again from the ministry, and this has to do with the Southwest Improvement Program overview. So they're pushing hard down in South.
We lived that frustrated life for 40-something years.
For the very first time, under the Ministry of Public Utilities, we have a program to attack and to address the water supply issues in Southwest Trinidad.
We are making strides, not talking, but you can actually see the results of some of the plans that we have.
It's like people pray was answered. Thumbs up, great. They do that excellent work.
Right? So that is water down in South. And I think they're going to be digging some wells, or they have already started something to that extent, and not in the water business. So me know much about pipe. So I just bring in what I have. I'm also seeing that in Canada Red Light with Pan Boy, they having some Christmas float passing by, and bam, on top of the float, papa, is a whole steel pan. So I'm just bringing it over. This is the Christmas cheer. Let me just get it here quickly. Oh, yeah. Come on, just now. I'll get it, people. Sometimes I just have to be looking through so many things that sometimes I just pass it and scroll and I have to go right. Okay, so this is it here. Ooh, let's hope it plays. So this is up in Canada.
Here comes Santa Claus himself. Woo! The reindeer Santa Claus. All the kids are loving it.
So people, that is up in Canada. that is in Canada there. I think the arranger is Salmon Cupid, if I'm not mistaken. I'll give them a big effort for trying. But I want them to come down to Trinidad and hear where the thing come from. Yeah? But it's a nice vibes. It's a nice vibes. And you know the steel pan is now our national instrument. Nobody can take that from me. We is the originator, the creator, the inventor, the everything. If you want to see it live and direct, you gotta come Trinidad. So let me continue. I'm also seeing that there's parking for persons with disability, and this is coming out of in collaboration.
Access matters. The Ministry of Works and Transport has introduced disability parking permits, and here's everything that you need to know. Disability parking permits allow persons with mobility issues to access designated parking spaces. The new regulations require parking facilities displaying the official international symbol of access. If these spaces are misused, it could end in penalties. Permits are issued to individuals with permanent disabilities or certain medical conditions, such as blindness, severe cardiovascular issues, or other physical disabilities. Organizations providing transport for people with physical disabilities can also apply. Permit validity ranges from under 6 months to 4 years, depending on the duration of the condition. Getting a permit is simple. Visit the ministry's website to download the application form. Complete and submit the form along with supporting documents to the currently licensing office. Once processed, you'll be contacted. These new regulations are moving us towards a more inclusive society. Let's make accessible parking in Trinidad and Tobago a right, not a privilege.
Right? So that is some works coming out there from Ministry of Works and Transport, and I think it's also in collaboration with Ministry of Social Welfare, Social Development, Senator Donna Cox. So you see how they all linking together. Come with more news again, that is good news there, but when you hear them emphasizing that every day is we suffering and the country bad. I'm also seeing there is an emphasis for what they call that, green energy. And this is this November the 22nd in Loop News. It says steps towards wind energy deployment in TNT begins. Light detection and ranging devices. Everything of an acronym is LIDARS, LIDARs, have been successfully deployed to Orange Valley and Galeota. The Energy Ministry said that the LIDARS will measure wind data to international standards for 12 to 18 months. Under the Renewable Energy Initiative for the Onshore Wind Resource Assessment Program, WRAP, for Trinidad and Tobago. The project marks the first steps towards official wind energy deployment in Trinidad and Tobago. In October, the government received support from the European Union, EU, for a consultancy to provide technical expertise for the conduct of the onshore RAP. The successful physical deployment of the devices took place this week. It was the result of the coordinated efforts of the Energy Ministry, Trinidad and Tobago Electricity Commission, TNTEC, and the National Energy Corporation, which is the agency responsible for WRAP implementation. And what is WRAP again? It is Wind Resource Assessment Program. In April, Energy Minister Stuart Young championed the formation of a cabinet-appointed Wind Energy Steering Committee, WESC, for Trinidad and Tobago. Chaired by the Energy Ministry, the WESC coordinates efforts across several agencies and will oversee the execution of RAP and eventual wind energy deployment for Trinidad and Tobago. Young hailed the deployment of the LIDARs as a milestone event for the energy landscape in Trinidad and Tobago. Young said, as Minister Stuart Young, SC, Member of Parliament for Port of Spain, North, Center, and West. You better recognize. Minister Young hailed the deployment of the LIDARs as a milestone event for the energy landscape in Trinidad and Tobago. So Young says that, Minister Young, the steps we have taken just this week alone have been momentous for renewable energy. We are actively pursuing our 30% renewable generation target, and wind energy will be the source of power for our future green hydrogen industry. The onshore ramp will continue to 3 other sites in 2025, and the government of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago will then be seeking to attract potential investors and project developers. The minister also emphasized the value of collaboration and expressed his gratitude to the European Union, that's EU, for their continuous support towards the country's green agenda. The Ministry, National Energy, and EU successfully partnered to host a stakeholder workshop to chart the path forward for the utility scale wind deployment yesterday. The discussion proved fruitful and will translate into a future action plan for wind energy. In 2023, a strategy for the development of wind energy in Trinidad and Tobago was developed, a collaborative effort between the government and the EU delegation to Trinidad and Tobago. Based on the analysis performed, the strategy stated that in total, the potential for wind energy is approximately 2.75 GW onshore and 32 GW offshore. The wind strategy identified 9 onshore areas of interest. The Orange Valley and Galeota sites chosen for LIDAR deployment would identify highest ranking sites for wind energy in Trinidad and Tobago. So we're doing our part to cut down on carbon emissions, and we must be applauded for it. Trinidad and Tobago does be the front runner in everything in the Caribbean. So we're going again. So let's see. Another gas deal was again signed off by Minister Stuart Young. And this is in, let me see quickly, hope it opens. Just now close this because I don't know what is this. What is this? Okay, so let me go to the source of the matter. Let me go to the source because this one is opening. Hi Melka, hi Roslyn, hi Kevin, hi Nadia. Let me see if I can find it here quick. Let me see if I can get it here quickly. Hold on, wait a minute, I'm coming. Hold on, I'm coming. Where is it? Where is it? Give me a minute. Give me a minute. One momento in Portugal. Un momento, Portugal. Let me see if you can open it now.
So once again, what we've seen here from the Ministry of Energy and Energy Industries working on your behalf is a record turnaround. We in Trinidad and Tobago went out with a shallow water bid round. What you've seen here today is the culmination of that hard work. I'd like to congratulate especially the permanent secretaries and the members of staff here at the ministry who turned around the negotiations with BPTT, one of the largest oil and gas companies in the world. Today we've awarded the production sharing contract after some hard negotiations to BP on behalf of Trinidad and Tobago. The energy sector secures our future. The energy sector is what provides the revenue for us to be able to make sure that our hospitals have doctors, nurses, the drugs that we need, the earning of foreign exchange. This is where our foreign exchange comes from. So what we're doing here, what I'm proud to deliver to you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, is a future of foreign exchange. This is what will fund of diversification programs. This is where the government is looking at, for example, tourism in Tobago, going out once a year, as you heard in the budget, for new hotels in Tobago. This is where we're going to push and earn revenue from maritime industry. So don't buy into that this government isn't focused on diversification. We are very focused on both the preservation and growth of our energy sector, whilst looking to push many, many projects for diversification. This is your government. This is your government working for you, Trinidad and Tobago.
Right? There's another gas deal. So we on track. So we continuing again. Good news, good news, good news, you know. I'm seeing that the Germans are funding something to do with arts in Tobago. Let me see what that is. You know, once they say arts, I ain't that. So let me see. This was in the news day. Share the, yes, Kevin, share the live, share the live. So this was 3 days ago in the news day. It says German embassy funds art workshop in Charlottesville. The Environmental Research Institute Charlottesville, ERIC, everything has an acronym, boy, held a figurative arts workshop courtesy funding by the German embassy under the German Federal Foreign Office Cultural Preservation Program from November the 13th to the 18th in Charlottesville. The workshop brought together Professor Niles Norman from the Academy of the Fine Arts in Munich, Lydia Turlock Dehe, representative of the Caribbean Arts Collection, Berlin, and gifted artists from the Northeast Tobago Biosphere Reserve, THO officials, and representatives of the Tobago Biosphere Management Alliance. This initiative aims to honor Tobago's cultural and natural heritage, strengthen the fine arts sector within the Northeast Tobago UNESCO Biosphere Reserve, and promote local talent while addressing cultural identity preservation. The collaboration aims to help Tobago achieve sustainable development goals by fostering sustainable livelihoods. Lively contribution at the workshop culminated in the signing of 2 agreements for long-term collaboration between Tobago arts sector and German's academic and cultural institutions. This partnership focuses on knowledge transfer, fine arts development, facilitating exhibitions, documenting Northeast Tobago authentic cultural heritage, and student exchange programs. So there's some good news coming out there from Tobago, and thank you to the German embassy for being a part of giving the Tobago community some help or some collaborating with them, and that we could have an exchange program coming out from that. So that's great news. I'm also seeing there's this educator from BTM. This man has been really doing human service in teaching the children who may not have, children who may be disadvantaged, or children who may have whatever issues they have, and he has always been doing it. He has a school down at BTM there, and I'm seeing something that happened to him, and I'm saying it's about time. That's all I'm saying about it. It's about time. So this was in the news day yesterday. It says, new home for BTM Gardens selfless educator. After 40 years of selfless dedication to vulnerable children, 1998 Public Service Medal of Merit recipient Wayne Jordan has been rewarded with a gift of security and comfort, a 2-bedroom home for himself and his 4 grandchildren. The home was funded by the non-governmental organization, the Children's Ark. God is good, Jordan exclaimed as he received the keys to the modest but comfortable home, built from 2 retrofitted 40-foot shipping containers, joined by a covered porch. The new home sits behind the derelict galvanized structure where he lived for over 40 for over 4 decades, so basically 40 years, at Beetham's Garden in Port of Spain. I'm so emotional right now, Jordan said, fighting back tears on November the 23rd. The home is a short distance from the two schools he founded, the, the all-in-one Child Development Center, a preschool, and each one teach one special school, which caters to children aged 4 to 16 who have been excluded from mainstream school owing to extreme poverty, special needs, and a lack of documentation or immigration status. Jordan Tada's efforts to care for the most vulnerable children won the admiration of Simon de la Bastille, president of the Children's Ark, nearly 25 years ago, long before the charity was established in 2013. De la Bastille is the widow of former president of the Caribbean Court of Justice Michael de la Bastille. Jordan initially ran the school out of a galvanized shed before moving to an abandoned concrete building which provided a safer, more conducive environment for students. The Children's Ark, with assistance from the Army Reserve, later upgraded the school infrastructure significantly. Jordan consistently prioritized the needs of others, often neglecting his own comfort and welfare, the Labastide said. About a year ago, when his roof began leaking profusely, Jordan contacted De La Bastide, asking for a few sheets of galvanized to patch it. But after visiting his home, the Children Ark directors decided to forego a patch job and committed to building a new two-bedroom house for him and his grandchildren. The project was funded by the Children's Ark with assistance from the Costello family of Lifetime Solution, who donated roofing material. Jordan efforts have previously attracted support from local and international organizations. In 2000, the UK High Commission and Women in Action for the Needy and Destitute upgraded his school by installing essential facilities, including electricity and flooring. That same year, his work received international recognition when then Prince Charles visited the school during an official trip to Trinidad and Tobago. Jordan has also received several accolades for his contributions. In 1998, he was awarded a Medal of Merit Gold for his work in education and community service. In 2021, he was honored by the Maharishi Institute of Science and Technology of Trinidad and Tobago for his selflessness and continued dedication to the children of Port of Spain. As a principal of Each One Teach One and parent outreach facilitator at the All-in-One Child Development Center, Jordan has helped empower and mentor thousands of children and young adults. The Children Ark has supported his work in the past, providing classroom furniture, supplies, and resources to improve conditions at Each One Teach One, aligning with the NGO mission to support underprivileged children. Oh gosh. What I'm going to say to this is that it took a long time and he never gave up. He continued to do the work that others may not have done. And for that, I want to thank him for his service. And if I will try to reach out to him and see any way that I can assist and be of help. And I'm happy that the organization, the Children Ark, saw it, that they can give him a home. Ooh, let me move on. I started to cry just now. So to Mr. Jordan, I would try to get a number and try to reach out to you to see in which way I could be able to assist in the arts to help also to bring some joy to these children. So he has his new home now, and I want to move on, people. There's some good news with a twist that really touched your heart also. I'm seeing that the launch of
Carnival 2025 is upon us, and Trinidad and Tobago is once again set to showcase the true essence of the festival. National Carnival Commission Chairman Winston Gypsy Peters passionately described this year's theme, There's No Place Like Home, as a celebration of the nation's role as the birthplace of Carnival.
Carnival to me is the greatest export that we have out of Trinidad and Tobago, whether you believe it or not, because we have exported Carnival to just about every part of the world, our type of Carnival. And that's why we say that Trinidad and Tobago, the mother of all Carnival, it doesn't mean a 1 year thing or a 1 month thing. It's the mother of all Carnival. This is the home of Carnival, and we want to promote it as such. And there is no place like home, because what we've seen wherever the Carnival is what we exported there. But we always keep the best for here, for Trinidad and Tobago.
Mr. Peters emphasized that while Trinidad and Tobago's Carnival has inspired celebrations worldwide, the magic and authenticity can only be truly felt where it all began. He explained a major change to the Savannah venue.
Now you would notice that all those modules, those board modules that we would normally have, and so it's all gone now. We have done all the concrete work there, so people will be much more comfortable, no longer with your high heel shoes. We'll be going through this wooden thing, and we have to be feeding the termites and all of that with the wood that we put there every year. So this is what we've been working on for a good part of this year, and it has come to fruition now. It's just about finished.
Right, people.
Just as foreign countries have their unique celebrations, he wants to cement Carnival as our main incomparable observance.
Right, so, and that's what I tell you, there's a time for everything. I was just reading the story of Mr. Jordan, which is a happy one, but is also sad. And just to move into that now to talk about Carnival. That's the cycle of life, but I am serious about trying to reach out to Mr. Jordan to see in which way I could be able to help. I don't have money, but I can use my talent and what I was training to help bring some joy to the children. So let me continue. I'm seeing something about Trinidad and Tobago stuns Mexico. Honestly, I didn't open it up, all I just see Trinidad and Tobago men stun Mexico, and that's all I needed. So apparently this has to do with rugby, because a ball in the hand and they're running and their clothes dirty like that. So cheers, this was in the news there, it said cheers bellowed through the Larigome Stadium arena on November the 22nd as Trinidad and Tobago men came from behind to secure, not men's and men. If I say men's, let me correct it one time. Came from behind to secure an unlikely and dramatic 12-5 victory over Mexico in both teams' 2024 Rugby America's North tournament opener. Their victory and the women's team, 37-0, dribbling win over Barbados, put both in a prime position to take the top spots in their respective round-robin groups. The match was tense and fairly scrappy at the onset, with Mexico holding a 5-0 lead until the dying moments. A determined TNT turned the match on its head with 2 late tries, sending the sparse home crowd into a frenzy. Earlier in the day, TNT women set the tone for their tournament with a dominant 37-0 victory over Barbados. The hosts imposed themselves from the onset, scoring back-to-back tries. In contrast, the TNT Women's B team faced a tougher challenge, struggling to make an impact in their match against Mexico, which ended in 34-0 loss. You win some, you lose some. So again, the men team appeared to be on the back foot for much of their match against Mexico. Mexico capitalized on a rare lapse in TNT defense to score their only try of the match mid through the first half. TNT players could not breach Mexico's solid defense, but kept their composure and came alive at crunch time. With 2 minutes remaining, Vice Captain Rurari O'Farrell showed his playmaking skills with a brilliant kick pass, setting up a substitute Isaiah Small for a powerful sprint through Mexico defense to level the score at 5-5. The crowd erupted and perhaps sensed victory with a momentum now firmly with TNT. They found themselves in a one last opportunity as a scrum in the middle of the pitch gave them a platform to attack. Abolio Silverthorne kept true to his reputation and gave one chance, charging through Mexico defensive line, struggling off a determined tackle to score the match-winning try. O'Farrell composed under pressure, slotted the conversion as the final whistle blew, giving TNT a thrilling 12-5 victory. That's our next one again. The victory will give TNT a boost ahead of their next fixture against 2023 finalist Jamaica on day 2. Reigning RN 7 champion Canada got past Guyana 29-0. Early in the day, we talk about this one. This is where we do women win too. So early in the day, TNT women wasted no time asserting their dominance, steering a commanding 37-0 win. So watch me now. We get on in rugby. Rugby is not. All I realize in rugby, some of them, especially them Aussie and them, they does not teeth and thing, All the front teeth like they just get knocked out and thing, boy. That and ice skating with the hockey stick, ice thing. Them teeth will be missing bad. Them just get knocked out teeth and all kind of thing, but good luck to Trinidad and Tobago and men and women's team, rugby. So let me continue. And lastly, I have here. Hi Alison, hi Kurt, hi Pauline, hi Patsy. So this was the finals of the football tournament that was held by Curry Master of Beetham, the young attorney from Beetham, and it was a success. So I'm just going to read a little from it. Hi Dave. It says here that is from TTT. It says here, Unity Call Football League 2024. All right, let me see if I can play it. And let me get some.
It was a full house at the Beetham Gardens Recreation Ground for the final of the Unity Call Football League. There was the Minister of Sport and Community Development, Chamfer Coach Lewis, in attendance, along with Port of Spain City Corporation Alderman Brian Lewis, as well as ministers Senator Karim Hussein and MP Foster Cummings, plus a host of local government officials from various corporations. They settled in to take in the football, which promised to be an entertaining spectacle, even though officials were top class, with Quincy Williams and Cecile Hines taking charge of proceedings. The playoff for third place was up first between Squad Elite and hometown favourites Beetham FC, who brought the crowd to their feet with opening goal by Jashawn Keaton. That would be their only success though, as Squad Elite took over. A double by Shaquille John, plus one each from Jason Joseph and Luke Phillip, giving Squad Elite the 4-1 win and the $10,000 third place purse. In the big final, with $100,000 at stake, as opposed to $20,000 for second place, featured Ramratri Brothers and Wolfpack coming in with a bomb squad, which included the likes of Kemon Showtime Woodley, Real Gill, and Shea Benny, to name a few. The brothers were not fazed and took the fight to Wolfpack, who, to their credit, did not sit back and absorb the pressure, as Showtime came close after the top save from the brothers' keeper. Ramasri Brothers then struck the upright as they unleashed some style of their own. 0-0, the score at the break. It would take a spark of brilliance to break the deadlock in this one, and it came as the clock dwindled. Real Gill with some skill to line up the shot from the tight angle, and he makes it 1-0 Wolfpack. That was all the scoring. Ramratri brothers putting up a good fight, but in the end, it was Wolfpack walking away with a big prize. Shane May was a judge tournament MVP, and his Wolfpack winning the 2024 Unity Call Football League, hosted by Kareem Marcel and the Renewing Hope Foundation. We ain't coming out. TT Sport.
Oh God, Wayne man, oh gosh man, me and no sports media thing, but I cannot make that more exciting, boy. I would have people calling, oh God, they should have been there. You read that kind of boring. But again, congratulations to Kareem Marcel, attorney Kareem Marcel from Beaton Gardens and his foundation, and that successful Unity football tournament. So people, let me start. Again, I'm calling out. The people and them didn't ask me to do it, but they don't want to come to children, especially children who have different challenges. I in that. I am calling out to the Tobago House of Assembly and the Secretary of Education and the triple looking one. Infrastructure man, help the school for the deaf in Tobago. The senior teacher, Miss Dorevian Toppin, wants a place for the children. She has the children. She have more waiting to come on stream. There are children who have hearing impairment, some deaf, some of course would have speech issues, because if you cannot hear, you will not be able to speak, and other children who may have their challenges. Help them to get a space so that the woman could do her job. Just like Mr. Jordan from the Beaton Gardens, when you see these teachers take the time to treat with children who have these different abilities, and we have them in our society, we must give them the support, because it's not everybody have the patience or the love to do the jobs they're doing. So I'm calling on the THA, the Chief Secretary, Fali Agustin, the Secretary of Education, Zorisha Hackett, and the infrastructure man, who feel he brighter than everybody. We name some James, what, Trevor or something, so help the people get the school. Okay, I'm moving on. All the Bacchanal and Tobago again, some woman from Canada, who is a Tobagonian, I understand, want to go to the Pigeon Point, I think, but the rules here is, if you're over 60, you have to show your Trinidad and Tobago ID card, and you could go in free. Otherwise, you have to pay $20 or something. So, Madam wasn't having it. She wanted to pay, and she wanted to show she Trinidad and Tobago ID card. And we talk about, you know who is me. From the time you have to start to tell me, you know who is me all that, I know you're on shit, because here what's going on. Rules are rules. It doesn't matter who you is. Rules is rules. Okay, so let me show already. Let me show already back now. And she look.
I'm not fighting with you, okay? And you don't have to act like that.
So that would be 20 people now.
Okay? I'll go back out. I'm not paying no 20 TT.
Okay,
I'm seeing it as this. But you know, you don't have to be forceful like that. Okay?
I like to do the right thing.
That's the right thing.
That's the right thing.
That's the right thing.
Kasha talking to him and he drove away.
Kasha was being ridiculous.
How she being ridiculous? She was doing her
I
job.
don't want to argue with you, okay? I'm a child of water and I don't want to argue with you.
I'm a child of God.
No, I don't believe you.
All you like to do is recording and push up, but you don't push up the right thing. You come on, let me do the thing the right way. People say, yeah, yes, you know the right way. The woman has to produce an experience in ID.
She asked for ID. She didn't ask for any other ID. I give her ID.
Right.
I give her ID.
Ask the Trinidad and Tobago.
If you do not ask the Trinidad and Tobago, it's after I give her the ID, she can't give it. She said, excuse me, you think I'm a liar? Do you know who I am?
I have no idea who you
All
are.
right, let me tell you who I am.
I don't know.
And don't let me see you out.
I don't want to know. I just want to know that the right thing is done. I don't want to know your name. I need to know the right thing is done. Right? So you pay the quantity, right?
I bought this thing, and I didn't buy it. I gave them ID, the Canadian ID, and they have taken the Canadian ID.
Right, but
Like, okay, I don't want to have
you
this.
know,
Let me go back outside. I don't want to have
right?
it.
You push up another that it's different. So you don't represent the ID by the or I understand that, we understand that, but that pigeon point, 65 maneuver with valid TXC ID, that's just you, right? I don't agree with you that. I don't think so. I don't expect anything. I expect me to speak to another thing.
I'm fixing it. You know why? My name is Dr.
I don't understand. I understand.
Look, I've been out here.
Yeah, but the problem is each move away, and that is what you're not supposed to do.
What are you going to do?
You're not supposed to do that. No, I can't tell you that. I security and management. I can't tell you what's going to happen to you. I really can't tell you that. Right? But that was not done right way, so.
So they are telling you, the lady going no way. She from Trinidad and Tobago. She don't have TNT ID on her. She have she have no TNT thing on her. She have the Canadian ID and they deny her entry. Yeah, right. So that is what the case is. Pigeon Point is running the citizens from the beach. The lady is a senior citizen, and she proved that to you all just because she do not have her TNT credentials on her. You all run her from the beach.
But that is what you have to get.
Right? She has the Canadian information on her. It doesn't count. Alright, thank you.
Sorry, but in my opinion, you see how unreasonable people can get? So to enter Pigeon Point, from what the security is saying, and he had plenty of patients, he was very cordial to them. You have to show your TNT ID card, and you can get in free. That's 65 and over. And if you don't have that, you have to pay $20. Okay. So the lady is from Canada, and she's Tobagonian, but she don't have her TNT ID on her. So why must the man who was given the instruction that that is the procedure to getting the Pigeon Point, why must he break it for? Because she said she's a doctor? And then you hear the response of the person in the back, they're running TNT citizens from the beach. You see how the newsers go to the next level? He went and tell people that, he went and tell people she was asked to show her credentials and she did not have it. That woman fully well know in Canada, if we go up there in Canada and they ask for certain credential and you don't have it, you could say who doctor you is, who lawyer you is, whatever it is, the rules are the rules. Why we can't obey the rules and you have to be telling the man about, oh, he is a doctor. You know who I is? He's a doctor. So what does that mean? So he's a doctor. So that means to say people must bend down and kiss your backside and just allow you to do things with another citizen who will come and may not be a doctor and will tell them, no, you can't come in here because you don't have a TNT ID. But you could go in because you is a doctor. Come now, man, we do the right thing now. And it's an elderly person. Eh? You see where it does start? If it was a child doing that, everybody would have been saying, but the child wrong. How they breaking the rules and all? You see who breaking the rules? A big 65 or over 65-year-old woman, eh? You see where that's going? All right. Let me continue. So I'm seeing that the courts would have upheld a decision by the Teachers Service Commission. And if that woman was my client, that teacher was my client, I would have never tell she take that to court because that is a case I know she would have lost. However, give me a minute, oh the Lord Father. I'll just wipe my nose. I tell you, let's put on the little powder to keep the shine off. Again, my thing, just all the my city eyeshadow and all kind of back and I'll give me a minute. Hey! Black still no crack, and natural shine. Oh God, sometimes it'll be too much. Yes, right. If I was that woman, This case, I'm going to read it. If I was she lawyer, I'd tell you straight up, you're not going to win this. But, however. So this was 3 years ago in the news. They court uphold Teaching Service Commission stance on promotion qualification. A primary school teacher invited by the Teachers Service Commission to interview for a principal in the primary school position has lost her legal challenge against the commission. The court ruled that the TSC, that's the Teachers Service Commission, right? Excuse me, acted within its mandate, dismissing the teacher's claim of unfair treatment. Sally Siran, the vice principal of Clark Road Primary School, challenged a decision to rescind, revoke her invitation to interview at the school communicated to her on November 8, 2022, 4 months after she was invited and 2 days before the interview. Siran was told that she did not have the required qualification of a bachelor's in education, and her BSc in Information System and Management and MBA in Business Administration were not deemed equivalent. Now you're teaching in a school, and you don't have a BSc in education. You have it in Information System Management, and you have an MBA in Business Administration, right? Justice Ricky Rahim found that the TSC action fair as he weighed the overriding public interest and the Commission's statutory responsibility. He held, even as Siran held a legitimate expectation of consideration, it was outweighed by the TSC duty to maintain integrity and competence in school leadership. In her lawsuit, Siran provided evidence of her journey in the education sector, including her experience in teaching and school administration and performance review. Attempts to clarify her qualification went unanswered, leading to her sending a pre-action letter urging the TSP to reverse its decision. Her evidence also included a 2011 Memorandum of Understanding between the Unified Teachers Association as tutor and the Chief Personnel Officer, which allowed for teachers without the required academic qualification, but with substantial experience to be considered for promotion. Now you hear when this agreement was made between tutor and the CPO with regards to teachers who may not have had the required academic qualification, but would have had a lot of experience in the work. This was 2011. Pay note to that date, please. However, this waiver did not apply to her as acting principal her acting principal tenure began in 2019. And there would have been my advice to that teacher. The waiver that was given to the other teachers who did not have the degree in education but would have had years of experience, that was for them from 2011. You in 2019, having acted as a principal, and that is why it is sometimes unfortunate that management does allow people to act in position, and then when it comes for them, the expectation that if there's a vacancy or whatever, that they will be entitled to it, that will be bacchanal started. Because when they go to advertise the work now, they just put all kind of different things that you didn't have while you were doing the work all the time. So it does really seem as if it's unfair. However, you have to go on what is set in practice and against the public interest, and all those things will take form. So that's why if I was her lawyer, I would have told her that Memorandum of Agreement 2011 did not apply to her. Or I would have checked to see 2012, 13, 14, if those positions are now required to have a bachelor's. Because when you look at those years and the teachers were still allowed to act and given position without having a bachelor's, well, then you have a case, because then you could say that it continued. But if it was just for those crop of teachers back in 2011, that Memorandum of Agreement with the CPO was reached. You in 2019, it has nothing to do with you, right? However, the TSC relied on the affidavit of Farah Mohammed Badaye, its acting executive director, who explained that Seaton did not meet the requirements for promotion since she did not have a bachelor degree in education. She also outlined the role of the CPO and the protocols in establishing qualification qualiventuses, emphasizing that the TSC lacked the discretion to set equivalencies independently of these guidelines. She also provided memos from the COP which indicated that a BSc in Management Studies was deemed non-equivalent. In reply, CEDA maintained that job specifications for the Office of Principal were set by the Education Ministry and not the CPO, who negotiates terms and conditions with tutor and sets out what are agreed to be equivalent qualifications. And that is where, again, I think the sister would have been advised wrong. Because while it may not be the CPO who sets out the equivalent qualification, the CPO office is responsible for that because the CPO is our employer. So the Ministry of Education, they will say XYZ, XYZ, but it will not be in isolation to themselves. They will have to check with different agencies and all that, and because the CPO is the employer, the CPO must know what is required for this job, the job specification, what is the qualification. So it might not be the CPO who is the one who does deal with negotiation, but it might be the director of personal admin and those other areas in the CPO office, because it's a big service commission, is a big space. It's not just the CPO alone there. So anyway. But Mohammed Baghdadi said that the criteria for equivalencies were established under the purview of the ministry and were not within the TSC discretion. In his defense, the TSC claimed that the decision to revoke the invitation was an essential correction, since Sedan was invited erroneously, you see, owing to initial oversight concerning qualification retirement. And that's what I was going to go, that the TSC would have erred, because if you are advertising for a position and you put the study criteria that is required by the Ministry of Education for the job, and this person applies sending a CV, or he sending the CV, and don't have it, then you all cannot go and interview the person, because the person now will tell themselves, although they say that, they call me now to be interviewed, and I was acting in the position, so I must have a chance. Yeah. So you see how these things are important. These little things just create a lot of strife within the workspace, and then workers will tend to feel that they're being unfairly treated and being victimized when management or the agencies that treat with these matters make mistakes. But human beings, and they do err. So in light of all that, I won't read anymore. In light of all that, she would have lost her case because there was no expectation, because she would have acted as a principal before, would have done the work and all that. But if the criteria for the job is you must have a bachelor's in education, it don't matter what other bachelor's you have or whatever master's you have, you must have it in education also. In the absence of that, that's what it is. So she lost her case, and it's sad that people sometimes just make these errors, and then at the end of it is the person who have the expectation, unrealistic sometimes as it may be, that end up feeling as they have been advantaged. Because once she see the Teaching Service Commission send her that interview, for her to come to be interviewed, and then send her and tell her no, that will create some problem. But again, she does not have what is required. So get all the information before you apply for the work, so that in the event anything, you have a good case. And she did not have a good case, in my opinion. So I continue. I see that Heritage Petroleum is using process kind of just to treat with their whatever spills they may have. It's just a minute. Heritage using steam. Yeah. Hi Sarah, hi Joycelyn. So 2 days ago, Guardian Heritage to use steam generator for oil recovery in forest reserve. So Heritage Petroleum Company Limited, now Heritage came out of, because Petrotrin Roger and them doesn't want to talk the thing how it does go. Petrotrin, the parent company, the refinery was a part of Petrotrin. Also, the exploration and production was also a part of Petrotrin. So legally, Petrotrin is not closed down. What has happened? Petrotrin has been restructured. The refinery is closed. The exploration and production side of it is now called Heritage, because that is the area that was making all the money that was paying off Petrotrin debt. So Heritage Petroleum Company Limited has announced the commissioning of a steam generator aimed at significantly improving oil recovery in the forest reserve area. This represents a major step forward in our commitment to enhancing operational efficiency and maximizing resource extraction, the company said in a statement. Heritage said that the restart of the steam flood is expected to boost oil recovery rates in the coming months and extend the life of the forest reserve oil field. We are excited to restart steam injection into forest reserves, said Erica Keskule, Chief Executive Officer of Heritage Petroleum. The commissioning of the steam generator underscores our dedication to utilizing solutions to increase production and ensure the sustainable development of our resources. Heritage Chairman Michael Kwamina, SC, noted the broader significance of the initiative, saying, Heritage is committed to finding more resources while maximizing production through the use of enhanced oil recovery techniques. According to Heritage, the steam will be injected into the oil reservoirs, reducing the viscosity of the heavy crude oil and enabling it to flow more easily to the production wells. It's said that the steam injection is a proven enhanced oil recovery technique that has been successfully implemented in various heritage operated fields. So there's some good news coming out of Heritage using new technology to treat with drilling and dealing with crude oil and all that. I'm seeing that an economist who is saying that he said economics and inflation, he said, is still a problem, and his name is, this was 13 hours ago in the Daily Express, and his name is Dr. Darren Conrad. I will not read the whole article, it's 7 minutes long, and I'm not going to read all that, but I'll just read part of it, excuse me. The local economy is not performing well, and inflation remains a problem, contrary to what the government is saying, the University of the West Indies economist Dr. Darren Conrad has said. In a phone interview with Express last week, Conrad is senior lecturer in the Department of Economics at the UWI, also believes that in about 6 months, when the Donald Trump administration in the United States settles in, this TNT economy. So one time, he is one of the gloom and doomers. You just know them. People, if a breakdown come back on, something is happening right now, and we will treat with that. And I did try to treat with it, so I don't think we will have the severe problems we had last time. So we know one time this is a gloom and doom economist or economist. Because he knows he has a crystal ball that when Donald Trump administration United States settle in, that this country will begin to grapple with a falling apart of agreements that could be disastrous to Trinidad and Tobago. And I guess he'll be right there chaining it about it. Yes, I told all this. I don't know. He said the country is not moving forward. The country is not in a good state. It is at the weakest level it has probably been. But when they are reporting the numbers to us, they are picking and choosing which numbers to report and how to report it to make it look good. So I guess that this is done not to create a sense of panic. If we understood the truth, we will be able to make better decisions, Conrad said. And I want to ask economist Conrad, so are you saying that your colleagues like Dr. Atz and Dr. Valmiki, that they are somehow covering up the truth and in league with the government? Because when you read what they are saying, It's not the gloom and doom that you say in here. So is it the school of thought that you train under is the gloom and doom one, and the one they train under is another one that sees prospects and sees a light at the end of the tunnel? Is that it? And I don't understand, because you're basically saying we're falling apart. The economy is not in a good state, right? It is at the weakest level, and it is probably all right. He noted that a number of companies have reported a decline in profits. So there is a problem, and it means demand is falling. And if demand is falling, then inflation will be low because people don't have money to spend. But this is how we want to achieve. But is this how we want to achieve low inflation? By people not having money to spend? No, that is not how we want to report inflation. The economy is not doing well, but we have to acknowledge this, and the people in charge should acknowledge that we have a problem and let us know what we can do on the ground. How they are choosing to report on inflation is not solving anything. There has been no real growth in this country, Conrad argued. He argued it, he didn't say it, he argued it don't have it, so it's his perspective he's coming from, right? We are not seeing any major construction taking place, and those are the things that tells you that things are moving forward. We are seeing a lot of road repairs, which is what administration do during election time, when certain roads in certain constituency will be paved. I don't think it is a logical approach to anything. We should not be looking the way we look. If you walk through any of the malls, you will see inflation is low because people aren't shopping. A lot of people aren't spending money. But the can is being kicked down the road until the time reaches to tell us the truth. And we all know when that time is. If you go to the supermarket, you know what is being reported is not true, a true depiction of inflation. I want to tell economist Conrad, with all due respect, I don't know what grocery or shopping that suggests that people are not spending money. I don't know which one of the groceries are there. I don't shop at Macy's, which is a fairly expensive grocery, and Macy's always packed. People that shop at Price Mart, people that be buying TV, all kind of thing, cash, because them don't have layaway, it's always packed. You could hardly get a parking spot. Food baskets and all those other groceries that opening up other food stores and groceries, making money. They ain't closed down. So I don't know what food store you just go and shop at where you see people is spending money. I don't get it. I don't get it. And companies not making money. The car company and them is saying so. Ansel McCall is saying so. Republic Bank and them is saying so. So, what business are making money? In any good time, bad time, it will have some companies who, because of bad management, whatever, they just have to close and revamp and whatever. I don't know what economy you talking about, Mr. Conrad, economist Conrad, but I continue. Price information from the central bank comes from distributors, Conrad said. The distributors have not experienced an increase in prices. What we are paying at the point of sale don't collect as prices. So it is how they collect the information to tell the story that they want to tell the citizens. But so you're not telling the story that you want to tell the citizens. And that's the problem that's having these people, right? All they want to just report and gloom and doom, gloom and doom, gloom and doom, gloom and doom. The pandemic cannot buy, pandemic cannot buy, pandemic. And if somebody has another perspective, because that's your perspective, all just have a problem with them. And so we're trying to fool people. So in this country, they have nothing good. Just sit around and talk about gloom and doom all day, and then all they about yes. Or they now open all their eyes. Don't talk about nothing good going on in this country. And then all they go like we, and all they go say we sycophant. But all is not sycophant. For forever saying one conversation all they have, the country is gloom and doom. I don't know, and the thing that we keep saying, why will they go leave if this country is so hopeless? The positions all they hold, all they have money. Then all they could go and live anywhere else where it is not hopeless. But all they is staying here, not bringing a solution to whatever problem it have. It just complain, and sit back in all their armchair and give all their opinions and don't do anything with it. And when people trying to make a difference, trying to do something, all they have a problem and fighting them though. I read about one more paragraph and then I go into something. Because I wanted to go by courts. We just had the Black Friday sale, open at 6 o'clock, and the line long as shit since the place dark for them to get in for 6 o'clock. I hear in Megastore on the highway, traffic like that. The car park full, all of the road packed with car, all about it could hardly come out. So how people are spending money? I don't get it. No one must say, let's go and just get it free. Let me see here again. He continues, small and medium enterprises are suffering to the point that they are closing because of the lack of forex. But the larger corporations don't have that problem because they are in line for forex. The conglomerates get forex. How else would you have all of these brand new vehicles coming in unless they have forex available to these companies to bring in all those cars? So in their eyes, forex is not a problem because the major corporations that have the major stake in this country economy have access to forex. The small and medium enterprises are the ones that don't have access to forex. So I want to ask, because me, economist, I ask a question. What if the small businesses are already suffering from the fact that people shopping online now? And instead of going to them small store and them to buy them thing and them small thing and them, they're shopping and buying it online. What about if the real scene is across on online because they're spending US because they're buying this in TT dollars, and although the tax and the 7%, they're still shopping. What about that? That may be also a factor in why these stores, these small stores you're talking about, may have the close. I don't know. I'm just asking. Come up with another solution, because online shopping is going on like that. I know this. Somebody tell me that woman don't buy nothing in Trinidad. She buys nothing in Trinidad. Everything is online. 2-3 days she gets it and she go away. You know, people like that. People are shopping online. This is a new era now. So it may not be the things that selling in small stores that people could get online. Even glasses frames. You could even take a prescription from here and send it away and get it filled with whatever glasses frame you want when you buy $300-400 small money. When you buy a glasses frame, you have $2,000 and $3,000. You get a 3 for small money. And you could send a prescription across there to be filled. Small money. So they're not looking to that also. Everything is a problem the government created. Okay. I'll just read one more. Because I think he went on to talk about the inflation rate for 2024, which measures the percentage of all item index for the month October 2024 to over October 2023 was 0.2%. This represents a decrease from the previous year. And he went on and on. He even talked about the forex shortage and talk about Guyana. And I ain't seen it. I can't see it here, but I want to tell him if he did mention that, or if he didn't, to tell him that Guyana also has forex shortage. So let me read it to the goodly economist with all due respect. This was from emerald.com, and this is, let me get exactly when it is. Let me get the date on this. Friday, the 26th of April, 2024. Significance, it speaks about foreign exchange shortages will persist in Guyana. The significance of that, these difficulties have arisen despite the sharp rise in oil output in nearly, let me read it again. These difficulties, this is Guyana, have arisen, forex shortage, despite the sharp rise in oil output to nearly 143 million barrels last year. That would be 2023, from which the government received some United States dollar $1.6 billion in revenues. Oil exports and royalties are expected to rise this year to around US dollar 2.4 billion. Nevertheless, complaints of delays in accessing foreign exchange persist. The impact of that in Guyana. The significant presence of major Trinidadian companies in Guyana will continue to put pressure on foreign currency availability. Whose company in Guyana putting pressure on the people forex? Trinidadian companies. Rising imports of goods and services fueled by the oil boom will drive demand for US dollar. Rising imports of goods and services fueled by the oil boom will drive purchases by the central bank risk becoming a further drain on the foreign currency available. That is in Guyana. Let me read something else. I got something else. June the 7th, because I was talking about April. So April, May, June, the 7th, 2024. In Colibri Corporate Advisory. Bank of Guyana injects US 80 million in commercial banks to stem foreign exchange currency shortage. Amidst a shortage of foreign exchange in the country, Guyana, the Bank of Guyana has been forced to inject more than US 80 million into the foreign currency market on instruction by the government. At a press conference on Thursday, Vice President Bharat Jagdeo said he met with the members of the local banking sector along with the Minister responsible for finance, Dr. Ashni Singh, and a decision was taken to have the central bank intervene in the foreign currency shortage as complaints were gathering from the banking and private sector about the shortage. We have asked the central bank in Guyana to make a major injection in the foreign currency market, the vice president told reporters. This was June 2024. Today, the governor of the Bank of Guyana, Dr. Gobind Ganga, told News Source that the injection was to the tune of more than $80 million. The vice president and the government took a decision to intervene due to the impact of the shortage of foreign currency was having on the private sector and the local market. The reason why we did this at this time is because the wait was a little bit too long. The wait was a little bit too long and it was starting to affect people's payments. And you know, if you have to pay, it affects your track record if you don't pay on time. So there has been a major injection into the market, Jagdeo said. Mr. Jagdeo attributed the high demand for foreign currency to the growth in the economy, in particular, the increase in imports. So that's natural that once the economy is growing, there will be greater demand for foreign currency for a legitimate transaction, and that is to import more goods, import more machinery and equipment, consumer goods, to make payments for a list of the intermediate goods, and therefore that the market may experience from time to time some mismatches. So far, we have seen that overall the market was clearing itself, although there was a wait list for a number of people and importers, that the market was clearing itself because on a daily basis, we watch the aggregate foreign currency available to the bank and their aggregate demands. Some banks have a mismatch. They may have less foreign currency and more demand, but another bank may have more foreign currency and less demand. So we look at the aggregate, the vice president explained. He said, as the government closely monitored the situation and found that the short-term mismatches have placed an upward pressure on the exchange rate, causing the Guyanese dollar to depreciate. Jagdeo said, while the government does not want the local currency to increase in its value, It does not want the currency to depreciate either. He said the government is currently pleased with the exchange rate and will continue to monitor the situation. According to the foreign exchange rate published by the Bank of Guyana, the US dollar is being bought at Guyanese dollar $207.98 and sold at Guyanese $210.45. So, economist Conrad say that there's nothing happening in the economy. You heard what President Jagdeo said. The reason why there's, paraphrasing, there's a shortage of forex is because the economy is booming in terms of people buying goods and all that, right? That to pay for goods, that to buy goods, and all them things, right? I want all you to listen to this. Hey, yeah. And he said because they have to buy more food, import more food now. So this was tradingeconomics.com, Trinidad and Tobago food inflation. Cost of food in Trinidad and Tobago increased by 1.30% in September of 2024 over the same month in the previous year. Food inflation in Trinidad and Tobago averaged 11.28% from 2004 until 2024, reaching an all-time high of 39.13% in August of 2010, and a record low of minus 1.93% in January 2024. Right? The point I'm making is that this has been an issue with food inflation for a while, and a lot of it has to do with also the fact that we are buying more imported food. So it says that our people are eating more foreign food than they are eating local food. And once that happens, you have to buy food in US. So let me just read this here because me no economist. I'm a simple person, Papa. Just let me find it. Let me guess it here. Come on. Let me find it. I'll go get it. I reading something that I saw news source would have put up. Time is the boss. I is just the student. Me bright. This is news source 5 hours ago. She said the story from Darren Conrad has her confused. That's what she put up. Our inflation rate is one of the lowest in the world at 0.2%. If the economy is tanking, I don't know if it's taken, and she made an error there. If the economy is taking what accounts for 13% increase in car sales, 2, the increase in consumption of imported foods, 3, the increase in cement sales, which is an indicator of activity excuse me, in the construction sector from 410,000 tons in 2021 to 453 tons in 2023. A 2023 report shows an uptick in labor force, and I will read what the uptick says. He says no other Caribbean country has forex shortages, and I'll just read what is happening in Guyana, and similar issues in Barbados, who has a tightly controlled exchange rate. That she's saying that economist in Barbados who leave Trinidad and always talking bad, like she and this one, Conrad, like them as friends, that she never talk about that Imala Dukaran woman. And then you remember Barbados in the hands of the IMF, right? So this Conrad man is saying that nothing is happening, no investment, nobody's spending. But news source has shown in the cement is selling more than it's sold from last year, which means to say people buying cement. Where do they buy cement for? To rest down there to turn stone? It's not to build, so it means to say construction going on, so and money spending there, right? And the Guyana thing we show him to be not telling the truth because Guyana have forex shortages, and we see what happened there. Now read it, and that report was July 2024, right? So this is from some from the CSO, and here it says here, I hope I can read it so fine here. Labor force / job creation. Official statistics from the CSO suggest that labor market conditions continue to improve in 2023. Because he spoke about 2023, right? Trinidad and Tobago labor force expanded to average 602,800 individuals in calendar year 2023, and compared to 594,600 individuals in the previous year, as an additional 8,300 individuals joined the labor force. There were 5,300 fewer unemployed individuals and 13,500 additional persons employed in 2023. So how does economists come to tell us we're falling apart and we're in such a bad state when the CSO has shown that there has been an increase, additional persons who are employed, and also a decrease in people who are not employed. So it means that people are working, people are getting jobs, and unemployment rate is dropping by 2023. So that is what I tell you. Me no economist or not, I could read and have some common sense. I would ask, here I want to ask, where's his name? Let me see where's his name. I want to ask economist Darren Conrad if he took into consideration the data from CSO and this data also. Our food import bill increased from 5 billion to 7 billion, which means that Trinis continue to eat more imported food and local food. This again coming from News Source page. I want to know if economist Conrad would have taken all those data into consideration before he write a long gloom and doom. I feel sometimes they just feel because they had a doctor, no, they work hard for the doctorate and thing, you can't vex the people and they work hard to get a degree in economy and whatever it is. So me ain't going at them with that. But I want to know if sometimes they feel because they have all that papers and education that a man or a woman like me who in all them papers, if we can read and understand things also and ask that question. That's what I'm asking. So let me continue. So I am saying that gender-based violence, and that is something that is serious in this country, gender-based violence, and it has to do with this was observed by Sergeant Rowley. I think SGT means Sergeant. She is a police in UTTPS 18 hours ago. Calls for action as Trinidad and Tobago observes 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. Violence against women is not inevitable. It can and must be stopped. These words from UN Women set the stage for Superintendent, my apologies ma'am, it's Superintendent Michelle Rowley Powder, urgent call to action in the fight against gender-based violence in Trinidad and Tobago. As the head of the Special Victim Department, SVD, Rowley Powder believes that immediate intervention is crucial to creating an environment where girls and women can not only recover from abuse, but also thrive in a safe space, revealing that 97% of the victims of GBV in TNT are women. She emphasized that it is time for society to take a stance against ongoing escalation, highlighting the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service efforts to reduce gender-based violence, especially during the 16 days of activism that begins today. She stated, the main objective is to raise awareness through sensitization. The 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, running from November the 25th to December the 10th, will focus global attention on the alarming rise in violence against women. This year theme is every 10 minutes a woman is killed. No hashtag, no excuse. Unite to end violence against women. According to the unwomen.org, in 2023, a woman was intentionally killed every 10 minutes by a partner or family member, with nearly 1 or 3 women experiencing violence in their lifetime. The agency highlighted that girls are particularly at risk, with 1 in 4 adolescent girls experiencing abuse by their partner. Speaking regarding media at the SVD office at St. Clair Police Station last Thursday, she said the best way that was to reach people where they are at malls, schools, and even shopping areas. Rowley Powder said the next 16 days provides an ideal opportunity for all stakeholders to reaffirm their commitment and urge decision makers to invest in prevention, working towards a future free from violence against women and girls. Elaborating on the work of the SVD, an amalgamation of the Children Protection Unit and the Gender-Based Violence Unit, the soft-spoken yet resolute have explained. As the needs of the TTPS and the public evolve, we have to adapt our response to better support victims, and the units have been merged into a single department. This is important, so I'm going to read to the end. Single department. Ahead of today's formal opening ceremony, which will feature Mrs. Sharon Rowley, the wife of Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley, as guest speaker, Rowley Powder, that is superintendent, said the changes included retaining personnel as well as setting up a file management unit. The unit, she explained, would help officers build accurate case files so they could become more efficient and effective in their policing. She added, there are so many injuries being handled by our officers that we absolutely need an efficient system to do all parts of our jobs while handling the volume of work. Policing isn't just booking or accepting reports. It is being able to pull together a comprehensive file in order to make prosecution and conviction inevitable when it needs to happen. Looking ahead to the next 16 days, she said, the SVD will present in every corner of each policing division, followed closely by the launch of the School Intervention Unit. This subunit will continue its outreach efforts in school, educating children on how to recognize deviant behaviors, whether sexual or otherwise. And I want to come to this. You all remember recently a gentleman from the Single Fathers Association, I think is the person who founded it, something Fields. I can't remember his first name right now. He would have had a march for International Men's Day that was celebrated last week, if I'm not mistaken. And he would have used his opportunity when interviewed not to highlight what his organization has been doing or intend to do, or the issues that men face. His time talking to the media was to tell us basically that the Minister of Gender and Child Affairs, while he didn't call her name, I'm just saying what the conversation was. Without him calling his name, that's what the conversation was about. That she was not at the march, or the government wasn't at the march, and you can only walk the talk, you put the money where your mouth is, and whatever. And then we heard, they interviewed the minister, and she said that Mr. Fields would have known from before that she was not attending, she had a prior engagement, and that the government would have funded the march. And that he is a person, if he can't get his way, he threatens to go to the media. And she said that as a woman, she felt bullied and intimidated or something like that. Subsequent to that, he came out and made a short video, getting on to me like a petty Betty, where he's speaking about he going to tell the truth. He will tell the truth because you have people calling him name and and a female gender minister say whatever. Okay, it is stopped there. Just a couple of days ago, somebody see he had an interview with Dr. Carrington where he put his side out. And I want to tell you, when I listened to the 3 different interviews that he had, it is not consistent, because in the first one, he's the one said that ministers from the Caribbean were there at the match. So it's basically as though they were there and it didn't look good that the government wasn't there. Then we heard the permanent secretary in that ministry said he was there on behalf of the government, and he felt disappointed that Mr. Fields did not take the opportunity to speak about what International Men's Day is about. And then we heard the communications specialist of the minister said that, again saying that the minister would have indicated she would not be there and that it was the government, the ministry, who funded the work. When he made his video talking, he was saying something to the effect that people saying that he is saying that ministers from the Caribbean come. And then when he was interviewed now with Otto Carrington, he spoke about the ministers from the Caribbean who came. I just have a challenge with people when you're listening to them speak that the story somehow keep changing. I'm not saying the individual is a lie or anything, but I'm saying when you listen to these three things, it is not consistent. So I want to ask this question because September the 5th, the Ministry of Gender and Child Affairs would have opened its first workshop for a men's forum at the government campus plaza. I saw that Mr. Fields, Rondell Fields, I saw he was there. And that program there was meant to focus on gender equality and well-being of men. Coming out of that, they are going to use the information had there to form a men's bureau that will treat with men's issue. At that forum, Dr. Jerome Tilok Singh, a UWI historian and a men's activist, they said he has been credited for championing the International Men's Day and having the holiday in Trinidad and Tobago. He would have spoken at that platform. And I just asking Mr. Fields, is it that he's feeling that he's going to be left out? Because here is Dr. Tilok Singh, that was September the 5th. And he was the one who would have, because I didn't see that put anybody else who was speaking. They have Dr. Jerome Tilok Singh speaking about the issues with men and all that, and then we having this bureau happening. So is it that Mr. Fields, I'm asking Mr. Fields, is it some of his issues stem from the fact that he feels as though his single men association may be pushed aside for the men bureau? I'm just asking because there's a saying that was attributed to a preacher called Samuel Porter Jones. That was way back before our time. It goes like this. He was a preacher. He was a very unconventional preacher in the things he said. They say he didn't have much education, but he was able to hold a crowd. And he would preach mostly to men. And he had some stinging words and little phrases for them. One of them I like, it says, a hit dog will holler. Meaning that you could have a defensive reaction to an acquisition, and that could look as if it's an admission of guilt. I'm not saying anybody guilty, but a hit dog will holler. So I asked him again, Mr. Fields, you all could tell him I asked that question. Does his issue really come from the fact there's going to be a men's bureau, and does he feel that he's going to be pushed aside? Because we see him here, Dr. Jerome Tilok Singh is the one who had a say at that campus program on September the 5th. Because I haven't heard, I may have missed it, the programs that the Single Fathers Association has. But when I read the article, and what the men's forum is going to do, there's a lot of stuff they're going to put in place for men and all that. I have not seen that from the Single Men Association. So I don't know. So I'll leave that there. Lemma continues. Well, usually you just know them, when Kurt, I think it is, or Donna, when they want to go across where the watery yellow water is, the behaviors does be a particular way. But I continues. Right now I'm seeing, I would like them to look the gender-based violence, I would like Superintendent Rowley Powder to look at the union movement, because research was done that shows 1 out of every 3 women in the union movement has faced some type of violence and abuse. I wanted to look into that also. It may account for why you don't hear much women speaking out in the labor movement. I said it probably could. That's what I'm saying. So, UE lecturers and they having their protesting. Again, I don't have no problem with no worker marching for the rights at the workplace. I don't get into that. My issue, again, I'll always say, is those who lead in them. So they're having their protests, and one person who is to the forefront of that is, I think, Dr. Indira. I'm not sure if her surname is Rampersad. I'm not sure. But Indira is the first name. And she was a lady who was, if I'm not mistaken, she was in Kamla Prasad Bisesa and the UNC Crime Talk. She was there with them on the stage and that kind of thing. I just mentioned it too because it seems now that you can't differentiate who is union leader or president from politician. And I would have read an article that she was saying that the protest that they had was a success, that you with the blackout they had. But when you read further in the article, the journalists and the who covered the story said when they went to other departments at UE, full staff was there. And what may have attributed to whatever low turnout of students and lecturers may have to do with the fact that now is exam time. So formal lecturing is not happening. So I'm just asking Ms. Indira, or Dr. Indira, if she carries a doctor in front of name, how could you accurately say that a blackout was successful if there are different factors that may have contributed to why we had a low turnout? I think it will be better judged if you have that type of demonstration during the semester. Then you'll be able to judge whether or not it has been successful. But if you have a situation where it's the closer semester, exams are happening now and all that, and because there wasn't much people in certain departments, you call it a success. I do not think that is a success. That's just my opinion, right? So I'm seeing here that this is in Trinidad Express. 2 former principals of the University of the West Indies, they are not in agreement. This was November the 24th. They're not in agreement with WIGUT, that's the name of the union for the lecturers and they at UE. They're not in agreement with grade withholding protests. So 2 former principals of the University of the West Indies, Professor Clement Sankar and Dr. Botiwari, do not agree with the University West Indies, do not agree with the West Indies group of university teachers, as we got, approach to withholding student grades to pressure government to increase the educators' salaries. And you know what, stop it for a minute. That's again, I tell you that unions, or some unions in this decade or this time, they're weak. Because if you cannot on your own, as adults and part of the union, be able to bring some type of closure to your negotiations and go to the table or have the government really set up a notice on your own merit, you have to bring the children into it. The children, the future, the ones who will let us teach about the future and becoming the ones who will take place as lecturers and politicians and doctors and lawyers. All they have the future in their hands because they're in front of all their teaching. And the only way they could get all the point across is by withholding results and all that. I call that weak. Because the only people who are really suffering is the students who will do the exam or trying to upload the exam and can't do it. Why are they bringing the children into that? Or they're not about protecting the children again. So they can get all the way, drag the trend into it. Or they don't have no strength on their own to deal with all the issues on that level. That's just my opinion. Why bring the students into it? The student is not responsible for you all not getting an increase in a timely fashion. The students are responsible for paying the school fees, paying for whatever classes and exam, those who don't qualify for GATE or those who would have used the program already and can't qualify again. That is what they're responsible for, because from those payments, all the rest get money. As far as I understand, I could be wrong. So once the trend make the application, they come to class, they do the exams, they pay the fees for the exam and all that. Why all the withholding? Because all they want a match. That has nothing to do with the children. They're paying. They're doing their part. So let me continue. That's why people that say, I don't like you. It's not I don't like union. I like union leaders who are strong and will incorporate in all they're doing new techniques. Not the techniques of the days of Butler and then when they had to behave like that because it's a different environment. But new techniques, just forever protesting as you can't get what you want. Protest should be the last resort. So then, how all they expect children under all the care to resolve issues? If it's a shout and ball, all they don't know that impacting children, they say, listen, I could get my way if I bully somebody, if I could shout and carry on. They're not seeing all they sitting at the table speaking calmly. They're not seeing that. Why all they're not exercising all the emotional intelligence and treating with the issues in that way? But again, you know, they'll say, who the hell is she? That I still want to tell them because them had a degree and a master's and a doctorate. Because sometimes in their space, people like we can't talk to them. So I continues. It is the second year running this strategy has been utilized by Wiggott. Tiwari is blaming the government for giving citizens and trade unions the wrong impression surrounding the state of the economy. In response to WhatsApp questions from the Sunday Express, Tiwari says students should not be held to ransom and withholding grades should not be a weapon in the fight for improved salaries. He suggests lecturers should instead use the experience as a teaching moment for the students and explain what the issues are, so that becomes part of their learning and understanding about the society and the economy that they are living in. What is education for anyway? Tiwari, who was principal of UWI St. Augustine campus for 6 years from 2001, asked rhetorically. Nothing new. That is what the other ex-principal of UWI said, like Sankata. In a phone interview yesterday, said the part, Sanka said, I put in it how the sentence should be. Sanka in a phone interview yesterday said the part that Wiggott was undertaking was nothing new and was something every UWI principal had to endure. I have experienced that both as a student at UWI and I've experienced as a staff member and as a principal. He recalled. Sanka held the position of principal of UWI St. Augustine between 2008 and 2016. He noted he would not appreciate students not getting their grades on time so that they couldn't progress from one semester to the next. He said at one time it had affected students awaiting graduation. On Friday, the last teaching day of a semester at the UWI, Wiggott lecturers and administrative members staged a shutdown of the campus by staying away. The day was called Blackout Friday, and those considered essentials were asked to wear black in order to stand with their protesting workers. Late Friday, Wiggott President Dr. Indira Rampersad called the protest action a success, saying that apart from the union's membership heeding the call, Finance Minister Imbert gave a response in Parliament. Rampersad said it was the first time since November last year that Imbert had addressed their situation. If the government were to accept the salary proposal from Wiggott, the back pay retroactive to March 2024 would be $7,100,000, Imbert told the House of Representatives. I do not think it is prudent to impose a burden of back pay of $701 million on on the taxpayer of Trinidad and Tobago, he said, as he responded to a question in the House of Representatives from Couva South MP Rudy Darcy on the urgent measures being pursued by the government to avoid a complete shutdown of UWI St. Augustine, given the rejection of the government 2% offer for the period 2015 to 17. So that's 3 years. By Wiggott. Embert said he wanted to correct the statement in that question that there would be a total collapse of St. Augustine campus. I don't think so. I think it is just an alarmist wording from the member of Couva South. For Couva South, he said. Economy has shrunken. Tiwari was asked his opinion about Wiggott's salary proposal given the state of the economy. The government is directly responsible for confusion about the economic climate in this country. For 10 years in every budget, the Minister of Finance said that our economy was going great. Anyone expressing another point of view was chastised or marginalized, yet the size of TNT economy has shrunk by close to 20% over the period Tiwari said. So I just want to address Tiwari because I'm not surprised he's going all around that and going to that level. Didn't Standard & Poor's and Moody just this year would have given this country a good credit rating, and the IMF also? So what misinformation is the government giving on the economy? Who is the people that rate and rate the economy? If the IMF would have lent you money, the ones who tell me in 2016, if we don't fix up the way we're doing things, or they go down a slide, or they come to we know. When in 2015, Tiwari didn't see in 2015, when this country was in recession after Kamala Prasad's successor would have enjoyed the highest oil prices ever in this country. And by 2015, central bank governor come and tell this country we're in a recession, two quarters of a recession or something in 2015. By 2016, the IMF was saying, if all you watch all yourself, all you had to come to we. Excuse me. And then after that, we had COVID-19 in 2019-20, where the whole world was shut down. Tiwari was not aware of that. So there's constant conversation about the economy. Don't take those things of factoring again, no more. COVID-19, that era of factoring. The period of recession in this country of factoring. That is what the IMF and them look at. But because if we are able to come out of that recession and come out on the other side of COVID-19 and still being able to manage it, that is what we get our grading on. But then again, if the Auditor General is refusing to record $2.6 billion in revenue and has created all this mess, although the central bank and all senior public officers who work in budget and all other areas would have looked at the information, looked at the evidence, and would have said that it was the new check-in system in the central bank that created that error, not thief, an error discrepancy. That's what I hear, an error discrepancy. So that's why we're talking about the line in the economy. It's not the government line. Based on, then hear what? Then say them public servants and them lying. All the senior public servants and them who say it's from the central bank, the mistake, the error came, say them lying too. Because the minister will be getting reports from them. The minister is not going in those ministries to get all those reports. It's the budget analyst department and this one and Auditor General, all them who will come with a report. So the minister going off of what the information that he has. And then if the IMF is saying, we're in a better place, Standard & Poor's and Moody in a better place. We're not before the IMF. Barbados before the IMF for 2 years, 2 or 3 times now. I read for all the way the pensioners in Barbados are worried because they can't buy food to eat. They have to decide whether medicine or food. I read that for all the, is that happening in Trinidad and Tobago? I read for all the way in England, a very developed society, where they cut the elderly fuel subsidy of £400, which was helping them to pay for fuel and all that. They cut that immediately, and the Prime Minister said, He got to make money because he came and made debt. They worry about the elderly in England. We might hear a lot of elderly, unfortunately, who they might find freezing in their home. They must have developed society. And he is saying the last administration leave debt for them to pay back and they have to find money to pay. All they're talking about them economy. But they want to always be coming down on this government, but they never come down and come up beside the sister with the excessive spending and the set of corruption we hear that was having. We never hear the economists and them talk about that. We never hear about Tobago all of them talk about that. But all of a sudden with Dr. K. Christopher Rowley, who has steered this country, could we be in a better place? You could always be in a better place. Could we be in a worse place? Of course, we could have been in a blasted worse off place than we are now. But I don't talk about that. So let me continue. Because I want to come to the Salary Reviews Commission. Because again, a lot of people using that as a talking point. And it is unfortunate. You can't put the two together. So this is what he said right. He argued that earlier this year was the first time Embed had explained that the economy was facing difficulties when he filed an affidavit in the High Court in which he explained the difficult state of the economy and the problems of revenue. But the country made $2.6 billion and Jaiwantu refused to put it into report. You don't think those things will create problems? Both you are remain economists. You don't think those things will create problems? Tiwari call it a rare admission of continuing financial stress that surprised commentators and editorial writers. Why would that surprise you? Do you not realize we came through COVID-19, the whole world had shut down? All they understand what that did, the impact it had on our economy. All they understood that public officers like myself was at home and getting paid when the month come for almost a year or a year and something. They didn't have to come out to work, and the only people out was emergency workers, nurses, and everybody in the healthcare system. We had a two-tier health system working in this country. Nurses are overworked and frazzled, but they keep going the distance. All they realized that, and money wasn't coming in because nothing was going out to sell or nothing. Both Tiwari and all them economists and them Gloom, all they realized that happened. Could you imagine if Kamla Prasad Visasa was in office during COVID-19 times? With all the money they have, they spend it out, eat it out, drink it out, hide it out, and whatever out. And to meet 2019 COVID-19, all in our position would that be? Well, I find Tiwari, all of them says haters, yes? I don't have a problem, they don't like the government and this here, but don't talk as if everything is gloom and doom because all is still staying down here. And I'll keep saying it, all they have enough money to go and buy all the vacation home in there, Miami, there, wherever. Why all they continue to sit down here and talk about the country falling apart and we suffering and it bad? I don't get it. Because if I was feeling like all they have money, I gone much part of that milk and honey flowing. And when I get up in the morning, manna that's fall from the heaven, you could eat it, you could lie down whole day, you don't have to walk nowhere. Everything coming to your door, to your table, and you just go away. So let me just read this part and I done, yes? The report of the Salary Review Commission recommending increases for state employees is yet another reason for confusion. How can someone be favored with substantial increases and a majority demand for better wages in a clear case of high cost of living, reduction of purchasing power, and diminishing condition for middle and working class be justified? So irrationally taken as realities of a national system of work makes it unreasonable to classify demands for wage increases by workers as unreasonable irrational. The question of fairness, balance, and reasonableness arises, and all those demanding increases sees is unfairness, arbitrariness, and irrationality. I will leave it there for a reason because I want to hit on the SRC thing. Again, I want to wrap it all and ask only this question. Either all your husband, or your nephew, your niece, your cousin, or your daughter, or your son. Whether you would have sent them to study as parents or a single mother, or always save up all the money and went and do it all yourself and get all yourself educated. So it's not just the ordinary public officer. You have attained senior positions. You have risen to the ranks of permanent secretary, deputy permanent secretary, the head of custom, the head of ombudsman office, first officer, second, and all these 235 entities that have these senior public officers. You would have worked, paid your dues, and you have your academic qualifications. And you have been without a salary increase since 2013. The Salary Reviews Commission has a job to do. It has been mandated under the Constitution. They have the job to do. And they would have recommended, they didn't say you have to take it. They recommended these increases. And increases is not just for the Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley, as they're making it to be. The increases is for the parliamentarians, MPs on both sides, senators on both sides, Prime Minister, opposition leader, whoever it would have been, even if it was Mr. Mane was alive and he was the Prime Minister, or Mr. Pane was alive and he's Prime Minister and they done that, it would have been for them. So it's for the position of the Prime Minister, the office that he holds. It's not he, the salary for. It is for the position that he holds. All of we, when we apply for jobs, we're looking at what the salary will be for that work we're going to do. Yeah? As I was saying. So he went and studied and he tried and studied and but then got an increase since 2013. And it's ironic that in 2013, when the Salary Reviews Commission had recommended increases for all those category of workers I call, in those 235 government entities and the parliamentarians, government and opposition alike, senators, member of parliament, Kamla Pasabi Sessa, and they took it. They took it. They didn't refuse it. And also to put on the record, she's one of the highest paid politicians in this country. Yeah? Right. So I want to know, would you find it fair? And it's 900. This group of senior public officers is 900. And the Salary Reviews Commission, they're under the purview of them, so they have the job to do. The public service is about 70 to 80,000 public officers. The union, where public officers is concerned, that negotiates for those workers, although they are not members of PSA, whatever PSA members get, where public officers, the whole public service gets it, right? So that is in the context of talking. The union has to negotiate for its members who are public officers, and by extension, the other 60,000 members, workers in the public service, they will get whatever PSA negotiate for. That is the union job for these public officers. There's 80,000 or 70,000 public officers, the union who treats with that, whether from teachers, whether from fire, police, whatever, the unions, individual unions treat with that. The SRC, 900 people under the purview, senior public officers, public service, whether or not statutory, whether or not it's in security, fire, police, whatever, is about 70,000, 80,000. The unions, individual unions, bargain on their behalf. You can't put the two together, right? So there's a recommendation, it has to go to Parliament for it to be debated on, and whether nay or hey, and they will vote on it, whatever. Kamla Pasabi Sessa jumped out and said that she and the UNC are taking it. That's politics. Because I'll tell you what, if perchance the government debates that and they go with yes to accept it, and it goes to a vote, even if Kamla Pasabi Sessa and the whole of the UNC abstain from voting, it will pass. And when it passes, they will still get the money. They're not going to tell them, we didn't vote and we don't want it, so they could take it, we don't want it. SRC, we don't want that money, we objected, they're going to take it. So she's saying that they're not going to vote for it says nothing. Because whether they vote for it or not, if it is adopted, they're going to get it, whether they say they vote for it or not. That is why they're moving as though, we don't want it, we say, but people, be real. They're going to get it if by chance the government carries it up and when it goes to Parliament, they debate on it, they accept it and they vote on it. If the vote is here, Kamla and them go get it. If it's nay, nobody gets it. And again, it's not just the Prime Minister. It will be the 900 public officers who also will not be getting the money. The increase in salary. Permanent secretaries, deputy permanent secretaries, and the list goes on. So it's not all they're doing the politicians nothing. All they're doing Rowley nothing. Or even Kamla nothing. When all they start to talk about the SRC and the unfair and all that. Go to Warrior and they're not telling all that. That is have 900 senior public officers who ain't get an increase in salary since 2013. Is that fair? If that was all here, although when I want all increases, but I still may leave that there. Let me go to the, and again I find, well, I spoke about the fact with the principal and we got and withholding the students' papers and all that. I would have spoken about that, and they had to deal out, right? Let me come to the unions now. People could say what they want. They could call me whatever PNM they want. I will keep saying again, I am an ordinary member of PSA. I hold no office. And as I don't hold any office, I am free to declare my hand. If I was holding office, like I hold years ago, because not now, I would have given support by voting for the People's National Movement. I never said anything because I was dealing with workers from different perspectives. So that wasn't a conversation to have, because when you come as a worker for me to help with our grievance, whatever, I don't ask you what party you vote for. If you like boys, you like not boys. If you like men or if you like women, if you're a Catholic, if you are a member and you need help. I'm no longer no representative. I'm no cooks and bakers and all that. I'm no longer in no general council. Nothing. I just want to remember. So I'm free to call out who the hell I want to support. Leroy Baptiste, on the other hand, he is the president, backdoor president of PSA, and as such, he has no right, no moral authority to declare himself a UNC by his action and then go to ministry and be telling workers about UNC back in office. And when they come back in office, they will get 10% and hold their belly till UNC come back. Because he declared on Labor Day, he is not talking to this government, this sitting government, for negotiation. He going and talk with the UNC, and that is what he actually did. He took his whole team and then went and talked to the UNC about public officers' wages. But nobody have a problem with that. Yeah. So I will tell you why we reach where we are here, PSA members and public officers who depend on the PSA to negotiate on their behalf in good faith. For the period 2014, 15, and 16, Watson, Solomon, Duke, and Leroy Baptiste, because Leroy Baptiste was a manager at WASA and getting 60, although getting that money at WASA, big money in WASA, he was getting $16,000 from PSA as Duke consultant. And 2014, 15, and 16, as Duke consultant, whoever, them was in politics. They didn't have time to sit down with the CPO to negotiate on behalf of public officers in an amicable way or in a way that is fair. They were studying for Duke to go up for the THA election. So they were campaigning. So you didn't have much time. You got to plan the political campaign and all that. So they had time to go and sit in front of the CPO. They get the days to go. They will come and sit down and talk a set of foolishness. And that's it. Duke will talk about living wage, that a cleaner public officer who is a cleaner in the public service who getting about 4,000 should be getting more like 10,000 like a cleaner in Tech. That's the thing he talking. Nothing is wrong in that. But when they come at a term living wage, we don't negotiate in this country before the CPO for increases in salary on no methodology as living wage. He went England, he had the term and he come back and train it around. We still going by the retail price index methodology. That is what we have. If they want that to change, job evaluation must be done in the public service. And coming out of that now, you would have proper job specification, what you're doing, what you're doing, because sometimes right on the public service, there are public officers who are doing outside the scope of work. They're doing more than they're supposed to do. A job evaluation will bring you in line with what actually you're supposed to be doing, and it will may even create more jobs, because you might find this job that this one person is doing, it is too much. This is a job for 2 or 3 persons. All that could happen with a job evaluation, but when that is finished, then no. And then you have a reclassification where certain segment of the public service get reclassified in the position, and then now you have the filling of vacancy. Then now you could go before the CPO and decide we want to do away with the index price, retail price index methodology, and we want to do living wage, we want to do pan wage, whatever it is. In the absence of that, this is what we have. So that's why I tell you, don't mix up the SRC with the unions. They negotiate differently. If you want, you can try and find out how they come up with the salary increases. But I guess they may look at other market prices out there, what other CEOs and ministers and that is getting compared to ours and stuff like that. There must be some comparison, right? The comparison first will come if we have a job evaluation, and then we will be able to say, okay, we're on par with this. This is what we're looking for. In the absence of that, as I say, we have what we have. So let me go back to Leroy Batiste and Watson Solomon Juke. So they're talking living wage, and the CPO listening. She said, yeah, you ain't fine. That we say, you ain't fine as a cleaner in the public service should be getting $10,000. Like a man in Tech, and here my comrades and them, and I, yeah. The CPO said, well, yeah. Where was she to say no? But when they negotiate with you have to negotiate with the methodology that they're using. But she will say, yes, it sounds good. How are you going to get to that? What is the method they're using to go to that? Right? So as I said, they were involved in politics. So there wasn't going in any real way to settle negotiations. And what made it worse, in 2019, Juke said to us in about November that the Minister of Finance, Embert, offered him a percentage for the period 2014, 15, 16. But he's not going to open the envelope. He will do it next year because it was Christmas time. And the next year would have been 2020. Watson Juke never let General Counsel or let the conference or let nobody know what was the percentage that was offered for the period 2014, 15, 16. We heard through the grapevine, some say it was 6 and some say it was 9%. Now, had Leroy Batiste advised, or did he not? I don't know. Watson Solomon Juke, and they would have looked at the offer, and we could have had 14, 15, 16 already settled back since in 2019. So we'll just have now 17, 18, 19 to deal with. Instead of that, by 2017, going back a little, Watson Juke formed his own political party, PDP. And again, Leroy Batiste was right there with his forming that zone. That wasn't having no interest. They used to show up to the negotiation and talk about foolishness because it wasn't really on that. They had a big show that was putting on. And by 20, I think it was 21, THA election, Juke party gets 6, I think the PNM gets 6, and then they had a break a tie in that, whatever. They reconfigured the different areas in Tobago, whatever, and they had another election, and Juke won overwhelmingly. When Juke won, he had to make a decision because he can't be employer and employee. Because in the THA, he will be an employer. You can't be an employer and going to negotiate on behalf of your employee. There's a conflict of interest that makes no sense. So he had a decision to make, but that was after the Faris Alwari, who was the Attorney General at the time, would have challenged that in the court. So Juke finally decided he had to leave, and in December, I think it was, an ill-fated conference a delegate was held, and a young chap from Industrial Court would have helped facilitated what we have today as Leroy Batiste, because there was an agreement made that they would not go to that conference meeting that Juke held. Because in that conference, WASA is a delegate system in voting in the conference a delegate. WASA has a big contingent. So them just override everything. And not only that, it was being held virtually, so we didn't know who was there and who wasn't there, because people cameras off. However, that young chap was told, don't go to that meeting, let the filling of the vacancy that will be created when Juke leave, go to the General Counsel, and the General Counsel make a determination whether they're going to appoint or have a by-election. No, he went. and put up your own self to be voted on as president of PSA, and would have further legitimized a legal process. And that's how liberties inside PSA to this day. The point I'm making to tell you all right where we at. Liberties has no interest in settling negotiations. Because if he had, just like the other unions would have taken into consideration the fact, although we all agreed that the 4% was inadequate. But I'll tell you why we get here, and I'll just tell all you. It is PSA fault while we're here. Because PSA could have taken for judicial review to the high courts or the courts, because in the act, it says exactly negotiating period, who is initiating and all that. And if I say reaching out to the CPO, and the CPO is not responding, the Minister of Finance is not responding back and only ready to sit, and they're not doing it, then take the areas to the court, let the court decide whether or not the Minister of Finance and the CPO would have been in breach of any regulation or any laws. Or they do nothing, or they leave it just so, because politics, because remember, Duke is PDP, he in the THA, running things in THA at that time, so it's about the politics. And remember, he did say he was linking, he was a B team for the UNC. And this one continues it to this day. So we are where we are, not simply because of the government giving him 4%, but because of the inaction of the PSA. And it was deliberately done, in my opinion, because they're on politics. And I will confirm I'm saying this is on politics. So unions went before the table, the CPO, back and forth. And some unions took a very long time to talk to their members and make a decision, take the 4% and move on to the next period, 2020, 21, and 22. PSA, on the other hand, move away from the table. The Minister of Finance sees the opportunity, reported by the CPO, and he sent the matter as a unresolved dispute. We end up in the industrial court. Okay. We there before this special tribunal. If you have people who sat before the CPO and said we could get 10%, bring them people to the special tribunal and let them argue on behalf we could get 10% for them 6 years. All they're holding on to is that the question, the PS and the PS couldn't answer, and the PS say yes, we could get. That is not the PS job to do that. It's the wrong person only questioning. So that is what they're holding on to the victory, because the PS say that is not the PS business. The PS don't even get paid from negotiations from unions. Them is the SRC does negotiate for them. But instead of fighting there for us still, he take out of the court section of the Civil Service Act for the court to interpret whether or not the special tribunal can make an award 10 years and give 4% for the 10 years. And the way he say get is that the special tribunal said it's only 1 year period before the CPO and before the special tribunal, 14, 15, 16, and once and before them, 2 years added on, so it becomes 5 years. So all the special tribunal could adjudicate on for now is for the first 5 years. Up to now, the liberties can go back in the special tribunal to fight for them 4 years, and then 5 years. He hasn't done anything, everything just rests down. But you know, he going in meeting to tell people, hold their belt until 2025. Then UNC come into office. UNC said they go give you 10% because Kamala stays on Hampstead and she come outside. And she said on the Hampstead and she come outside and she said that. That way telling members, hold on. Because you know, this thing is 500 vote here and 500 vote here and thing. And he was asked, because workers tell him they're disappointed, he come in with this kind of talk. They say, okay, say UNC, what are you going to do? The man say go sign for 4%. So isn't he playing politics and nobody has seen nothing wrong in that? So I'm saying again, people, I took the time just to talk about the SRC and where we at. And this, my thing is this, if we have a strong union and they're doing what is right in the interest of workers, I'm marching with our union. If the PSA was strong, the leadership was strong, I would be right there supporting. I can't support what liberties and they're doing because they're not working in the interest of members, they're working in the interest of their political ambition and political agenda. And just like we got the lecturers and they who marching under Dr. Indira, whoever she's name is, where they were holding the students now, the exam and whatever it is, using them as pawn. That is exactly what Louis Baptiste has done to public officers, using we as pawn in his interest in becoming a politician. So in his mind, have the public service irate because they are voters and they will not vote for PN and they will vote for UNC and UNC will come in. I will become a minister. And then what? He will become not an employer. God forbid those things that happen like that. When I become an employer, could he now fight for the rights of PSA members? He will just be going along with the whole crew. They can't pay more. So people don't be fooled by Louis Baptiste. Don't be fooled by Canopus Services saying the UNC not accepting the money. Don't be fooled by PSA that has about 5 people on the executive. And another thing I want to tell public officers, WASA love to boast, they feel they own PSAs, them own, like they have a birthright in. We have tried Watson Solomon Juke, who came from WASA, Felicia Thomas, who was the General Secretary under Juke from WASA. Right now we have another WASA, the Baptiste, Felicia Thomas, First Vice President, WASA, the Treasurer WASA, and WASA has failed. They have failed PSA and they failed public officers. Our union has gotten weaker and worse under Louis Baptiste and Watson Solomon. You call them from WASA. And it's time that PSA return to its moorings and understand the context. Louis Baptiste and they come from the statutory board and stuff. They don't understand how the public service is run. They know how WASA is run and they know how they must operate in WASA, but they do not have a full understanding of how the public service is run because they are not in the technical sense, they are not public officers. They come from statutory boards and that's a different thing entirely. So we need to bring back PSA to where public officers running PSA because WASA is just a bargaining unit of PSA. And in 2007, they boasting a PSA member. Let me tell you something. The public service have more PSA members outside the public service, in the public service than it a WASA public office, PSA members. So I urge people, when you see the election come in March, because it has to come in March, there's one team and one team only. One team and one team only to vote for. They can have 99 others. One team and one team to vote for. Focus on one team and one team to vote for. And we're going to know that team. As time comes along, I will tell all of that team. Because the person could work and has done the work and has been doing the work. One team and one team. And if they come out, all we need is 4,005 or 5,000 public officers for PSA member to come out and vote. And WASA will not have the monopoly on the PSA that they seem to have. I'm not talking about WASA workers. So me and I talk about my comrades and I talk about the leadership. Felicia Thomas, Louis Baptiste and others from WASA who in PSA, that's what I'm talking about. They don't understand the public service and they continue to keep dragging us on because their interest is always on WASA. That is their right because they're from WASA. But don't do us what we got doing, the students. Don't do us that. But all them monopolizing the whole PSA, looking out for WASA interests, and the public officers, or they're not looking out for we interests. Let me see all who here. Joel, Brian, Claire, Constant, Nadia, Joel, Rudolph, Marlon, Donna, Leon, Shakiva, Brandy or Dandy, Kathleen, Lynette, Kevin, Roxanne, Anne-Marie, Jess, Hollister, Glenda, Judy, Ezra, Roslyn, Christopher, Kenneth, Rosanna, Hazel, Nadia, Sandra, Kurt, Margaret, Madhu, Donna, Lennox, Yvette, Hazel, Joyce, and Helen, Isabel, Hadara, Mary, Anton, Joda, Charles, Emmeline, Kelvin, Sandra, Ingrid, Robert, and I just missed the last name there. Just let this thing move from there. And Marlene. At the end of the day, people don't have to agree with me. But use emotional intelligence and be logical in your thinking. Don't let the way you feel about me get in the way of the information I brought, especially when I speak about the union and stuff. Because we're in a crisis where the union is concerned, where PSA is concerned. All other unions accepted the 4%. They have spoken to their members via general council and all that. And there are unions who have educated people. It's not stupid people, educated professionals, police, fire, army, teachers, amalgamated, all agriculture, something workers, that union, all of them educated people in it. And they would have seen the wisdom and hear what? We are at this point and we need to settle this and not have this like an albatross around our necks, and we have an opportunity to go before the CPO again. And as I told you, the Minister of Finance saying 5% on the table. He could say that. Under the Civil Service Act, he could say that. He could say whatever percentage, that has nothing to do with us. What we need to do, he put that on the table. We have to make sure when we go as a union, well, not PSA, going nowhere, so I'm talking about a union. When they go before the CPO, they sit down and negotiate with the evidence and everything that they have, data, everything they have, why they deserve to get more than 5, and argue the point with justification, and I wish them all the best. I expect to see them walk away from table with 8% and 9%. If they want to go the week and don't have nothing and get bowed down, they can't vex with nobody. You have to go to A game on. You have to go to A game. And that's what happened to them with the 4%. When they went, they really didn't have the data. Ask any one of them. They mightn't say it how I say it. But they didn't have no data, no information, no evidence to show the government could pay more than 4%. Because if they had, they would have stay fighting. They couldn't counteract nothing with the government put it. When I say government, by the CPO, Minister of Finance and all that. And they knew that, but I guess, in my opinion, they may have held out, showing their members that, they're still fighting. I think deep down they knew that they will have to settle. Yeah. So I hope this time around they do better and don't let 6 years again pass. I'll be very disappointed. I want them to show their strength, and the strength must be shown around the negotiating table. Sit down with Dr. Darren Dial, sit down there at the table, don't move. He gave all they give. It's right, they got to fight it out. That way strength and power is. You can have your members outside to get support and things, but don't bring no members on the road to protest. Sit down in front of the CPO and walk it out. That way you have to sit down. That's the strength of a union. The strength of a union is not marching on the street. They won't want to tell all of that. I tell them all of that. The strength of a union is not marching on no street. From the time you come on the street, you don't lose. The employer don't know, you don't have another strategy. Marching on the street is not no first strategy. Sitting at the table, the longer you sit at the table, the more you come to rumble. Union leaders mightn't say it how I seen it, but I tell you, when you sit at that table, they know you come to rumble, and the longer you sit, you have them. They start to say, nah boy, think seriously. But once you get up and go on marching in the road, they know you have nothing. All you depending on is the emotion and the workers to come out and get on. And most likely, they might start off hot with you, and soon your crowd dwindle down because people say, you see me not, I have to walk here to do it. But at the table, that way power is. So people, I want to tell you thank you all so much. I'm playing no song today. This is a day I just felt to just bring this information across in this way because it's important we understand what is happening. The government have their part to play, and of course they must shoulder some of the blame, but do not absolve the union or do not absolve other bodies from taking responsibility also. You can't only just blame our government for everything. There must be some things you must take personal responsibility also for. And then the economists and them who just gloom and doom and doom, then tell us what we should do. But all they don't say what we should do is gloom and doom and doom. But then when the government is doing this or saying this, or we saying, oh, they have a problem and vex with you. Look at the job evaluation that was going on in the public service. For 2 years it's on hold. The PSA, the Rebatista and them met with the CPO to work out the dynamics of how to go about the job evaluation and that. They never come back and tell you. For 2 years, it hold up. But the politicking That nothing, but it is to make sure that's happening in the public service so we could get a different method to negotiate on behalf of public officers to get more money and all them kind of thing. 2 years it on hold. Who you blaming at the government? Come now, man, all you. Put the blame where it should go. The government could do their part, we could do our part, and we all work together, social partners to develop and build this country, all races together. But some of them, they're dirty and sick. That's what I was always saying, and I'll always say it again. Liberty is dirty. He stink. You know what I'm telling you? He dirty and he stink. It's all about he. And you see them who following. He said Felicia Thomas, she's a wicked. There's one that told about me. She wicked. I had experience with her. She's a wicked, lying individual. That Felicia Thomas. Let she send reaction protocol letter for me and I go prove where she's a lying, wicked individual. We are dealing with she. That girl joined herself in a case with Watson Solomon Juke. She was nowhere there. Where 14 of us, Watson Solomon Juke, interdict we from the union, pop we face and we name all over Facebook like if we're criminals. So what, standing up and talking for you, right? Some people are telling me I love my union. We have to fight and get money to get a SC lawyer to fight to get back membership inside the PSC. Not membership, but to be able to take part in things in the PSC. That case still out there. She was a part of that, and then hold a kangaroo court where the 14 comers wasn't there. I happened to be there in a virtual meeting, and the woman said she tried we and found we guilty. I had to interject. I didn't go play it for. I had to interject to tell she, wait, you can't do that, just so. The common name who you calling not there. How you could people not there call the name and then say you charge them? I said I never know PSA was a courthouse. She find me guilty, you know, guilty of what? That Felicia Thomas is a wicked individual. Or they get tired with she. So people say again, thank you all so much for staying and listening to me. We will talk again on Wednesday because they want to come with something new. I see the live didn't really break down as such. I won't tell only what I do, but I do expect it to again. So people have a blessed one. I love you all, and we will speak on Wednesday, God's day. Share the live, share the information that the only way people would know, so that they'll be able to make an informed decision, and they can agree or disagree, but at least they would have shared the information. And when I talk about the union, I could stand up and hold my own with any one of the union leaders. I could stand up and hold my own, and the information I given on the union is not of foolish information. I not know misinformation and disinformation. I bring it straight. So people love you all. See you all on Wednesday. God spare God. Donna and all fed up on Kamala and all of them, but you know what? We have to hold it forth and continue, because when you look at our grandchildren, even she grandchildren and all, even the opposition and the grandchildren and all of them, it's them we're fighting for their future, for the Indian children, the African children, the Chinese, the Syrian, it's them children we're fighting for. I'm going to look at the innocent children and them who want a future. We can't give up. Before I go, Khadija Ahmed is a member of Parliament Guild. Leave them kind of dressing for winner. I see Khadija Ahmed in a distress pants. The cut almost up to she crotch. Know what you're wearing, it could be sexy and thing, but remember the status that you hold too. You could have a distress pants, but it cut by the knee. Yours, it cut all up your leg, all up there. A little bit of a skin, so you could see your panty and all kind of thing. And you're a member of Parliament Guild. Last time I went to the sari or the belly outside and bowling, but in India, they just wear the clothes. They don't wear them kind of sari, Guild. I look it up, the women and them in India, the Parliament, all their belly covered because it's a longer thing. They put all your belly outside and all kind of thing. You're always an appropriate Guild. When it's not that your name calling and thing with police that call and who kidnap and then kidnap. Oh God. And that is what I want to bring back. That is who liberty is dependent on to come back in this country, boy. All you have a blessed one. I love all you. I go on. See you all Wednesday, God. I love you all. Bye.
BounXup Central Network. Tune in for shows like Let We Talk to Ting with Sister Jenny every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 5:30 p.m. Dauntless Defenders of Good Governance, Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Culture Points on Thursdays at 8 p.m. and Sundays at 5 p.m. And Fine Point, with Fearless Warrior at various showtimes. For more news, informative content, entertainment, special events, discussion forums, BounXup Radio, movie watch parties, and to even bust a mark anonymously, visit our BounXup Central Community Hub, the platform that's Ting, created for we, by we. Keep the conversation going, even after the show. Chat in real time on our 24-hour live chat at BounXup.com. If you have a passion for news, politics, culture, music, sports, technology, and helping your community, we invite you to come join the BounXup Central Network family. Come join us.